Hello and welcome to another edition of the show which features dream cars that none of us can buy. We're talking concepts, the one-off prototypes to test opinion or to show off technological advancements. This week we look at some of the successful concepts which made their way over the hurdles into full production. But first, let's take a walk on the wild side, the land where blue sky thinking and brainstorming dream up some intriguing possibilities. At the turn of the 19th century, people who owned cars could virtually be counted on your fingers. The emerging technologies that provided motive power for these new-fangled, horseless carriages wasn't just making cars very expensive, but was also creating a weird sense of fear. There were many pundits saying that the car was just a passing gimmick. Even when Henry Ford had succeeded in making motoring affordable to the masses with his factory line produced Model T, the general mood at the time was that these machines were just rich people's playthings. Just as in the 1970s hardly anybody thought that computers could ever be used in the home. In the early part of the 20th century, cars were only seen as for men to get around their land quickly and for toffs keen to show off their new possession. After all, people in this time often were born, lived and died in the same area. It was rare to travel long distances for business or for pleasure. So now the car could actually offer this, car companies had a big job to do in order to overcome a big mental block from their future customers. These days, of course, we think nothing of travelling up and down the country just for a weekend getaway or using our cars regularly for long-distance business use. The car has given us incredible amounts of freedom, which we now merely take for granted. So what's the next big step for personal transportation? For Citroen, a school of thought has led them to the conclusion, probably reached just by looking out of the window of their Paris office, that cities these days give motorists too much personal freedom. Clogged with cars with mostly one person in, cities are now definitely not car-friendly. So after a series of brainstorming meetings and lots of packets of strong French fags, they came up with this bizarre concept car. Now, what we're looking at here isn't necessarily what the actual car may look like, it's the system that's the concept here. They've taken computer logistics systems to the limit, so we've got the best route planning and navigation systems on the planet. Tie in with this a way to sense who's on board a car, how long they're in a car, and a way of getting money out of their bank accounts, and you have the Citroen Osmose.
From this concept, we start to explore the technology by wire, and in fact, from that, we have now this technology on all of our concept car. It's something we'd like to develop a lot because it's bring a lot of security, a lot of freedom for designer, to don't get any mechanic connection to the mechanics. So it's bring a lot of freedom to the designers.
Why have a car that you struggle through jams with, then leave parked up all day in some dodgy multi-story which costs you a fortune? Why not let others drive your car around and pay you for the privilege? You'd have programmed in when you next need it, or if you need it earlier, you'd be able to call it by remote control. You could even tell your car not to hire itself to other people in certain time periods. And of course your precious car will always tell you where it is at any moment. What's more, if a car has a spare seat or two, other people on the streets could have sensors to tell them if a car's coming along which is going their way. And once they get a lift, more cash goes to you, the car owner. Well, I'm sure by now you're compiling a mental list of the pros and cons of this Alice in Wonderland system, so let us attempt to read your mind. On the plus side, something like this is desperately needed in the clogged cities to rid them of selfish drivers. Your astronomical parking bill can be much reduced or even eradicated thanks to other folk using your car around town. On the disadvantage side, our cars are personal things. Would we really want strangers picking their noses in our cars and leaving gum under the seat? What if you suddenly changed plans and you needed your car urgently? What if the last borrower of the day happened to park it way over the other side of town? If you found a dent in it, how would you find out which of the borrowers had actually pranged it? Systems can be abused anyway. This would be a security nightmare. In any case, what's wrong with using good old taxis and buses? Did nobody in the brainstorm sessions think of that? Now on Concept Cars, here's proof that the creative spirit is alive and well in Japan. This is the 26th annual Toyota Idea Olympics, which sets out to promote technological achievements in a fun and exciting way. If professional car designers can have fun, why can't the public? Just have a look at some of these modes of transport this year's entrants have thought up. You're not quite sure whether some of these Japanese inventors are hoping to be top designers at Toyota one day, or just having a laugh. Okay, just having a laugh. The hall has fairly sensible stuff like virtual table tennis and a machine for sending things through tubes. But outside, the fun really is about to start. Here's a scooter with an inbuilt flywheel system to keep the energy longer. Good stuff. But is it economic to make? Well, that's another question. Now, what do you think this is? It's actually a three-wheeled scooter. Not exactly compact, but a neat idea. Somebody here has invented a gearing system to get a wheelchair upstairs, and someone here has got a robot pulling a rickshaw. Yeah, not exactly 21st century though, is it? Ah, now we're really getting daft, aren't we? Is this really a wheel and leg contraption that only works if you're dressed as a teddy bear? But why cycle if you can surf? With this device, you can recreate all the surfing fun in the high street. And you'll have a ball with this mode of transport. Whistle to it, and it glides up and opens up. And then, well, you get in it and sort of ride around. This is a friction ball device that works this strange vehicle. Don't think it'll take off though. But we really hope Toyota actually build this. What a great family MPV. It'd be like taking the family around in a mobile Mr. Blobby. Fantastic. The fertile minds of the competitors at the Ideas Olympics in Japan. After all, here's a deck chair which is moving by hamster power. Don't ask. No, really don't. Here's a wooden pump boat that seems to move by hydraulics, or faith, or possibly both. A giant food mixer attached to a raft, powered by a giant solar-powered umbrella. A replacement for a steering wheel for skydiving fans who enjoy hanging in there. I think I need to lie down. Sometimes concept cars try too hard. For example, take the Honda MV99 Concept MPV. All we really need in this sector is practicality. The vehicle has to lug people around in comfort, with room for them and their luggage. But here, the designers think not MPV, but really executive shuttle. Let's take a peek inside this concept. Got some nice seats. But do we users really want a global communications network showing on the sun visor? Let's be frank, how many board meetings really take place in an MPV parked in a lay-by? The seat vents are a neat idea, by the way, but the pop-out screens show that this car is fitted with an integrated personal data assistant. So, there's no need to go to the office at all then. And if there's no need to be going to the office, then there's no need for the car to be going to the office in. My brain hurts. Still, these things flip away, and the dashboard is very futuristic, with sat-nav, entertainment, and the ubiquitous climate control built in. This has the heads-up display so popular in many American cars these days. But why you need video screens replacing old-fashioned mirrors, we can't really fathom. Video feedback of the road behind and around you is surely a gimmick, although designers will tell you they want to get rid of old-fashioned mirrors to improve the drag coefficient. All very worthy, but surely a bit of mud on the camera lens and it's downright dangerous. The seating is flexible, but calling it a conference area or an executive lounge on this promotional video is having a laugh, isn't it? The designers have built-in storage boxes galore though, and maximum flexibility for seats and doors. But at what cost if this were to go into production? After all, the costs incurred in creating a concept need to be recouped in sales. That is, sales of actual production cars which fit people's needs and are affordable. Welcome back to part 2 of Concept Cars. Matching cars to people's lifestyles is really the key to any automotive product success. The Citroen C-Crosser is the latest in a long line of innovative concepts which tries to give a practical and fun vehicle to people with active lifestyles. Watching this promo film is funny. The cynical part of me says surely shopping bags and babies could be put in this concept car just as well as handsome young things climbing ropes and windsurfers. But I suppose that wouldn't be as sexy, would it?
I think it will be more element of C-Crosser in the future. I can't say if you would have to produce a Citroen, it will take exactly the general shape of the C-Crosser. It will be more part of philosophy or architecture, but not under this shape.
In its favour, the C-Crosser blends the practicality of a covered pickup with an MPV, wrapped in a very high-tech package. After all, here's a car with 100% fly-by-wire technology. There are no mechanical connections between the driver and any operational part of the vehicle. So this means that anybody in the front 3 seats can actually drive. Here, pass a steering wheel, mate. Scary.
I think probably the most important technology we're looking at with C-Crosser and we're continuing to look at is everything to do with connected with drive-by-wire. It's a technology which I think if it does come about and does come into production, it'll be probably the biggest change that we've seen in cars for a very, very long time. And it allows you to do many, many things. You no longer have any physical link between all the driver commands and the car, which means in terms of driver interface, you can do so many things. For example, in the C-Crosser, we no longer have that physical link, so we can place the steering wheel wherever we like. Eventually there's no reason why, for example, you couldn't have the steering wheel which you take into the back seat and drive from the back seat.
And after a spot of canoeing, why not raise the suspension to enjoy some off-roading? So let's leave the Citroen C-Crosser on the mountaintop with its young lovelies and move on. Now here's a couple of recent concepts with their wheels firmly planted in reality. This is the CZ2 concept car, looking right at home on the road with neat futuristic touches. Mitsubishi have never been at the forefront of innovative styling before. Take the, the lines of the Mitsubishi Charisma. But here, the tide has been turned, and we hope this and its concept sister we'll see in a moment will soon be on the forecourts. Here's the quote from the press release. A casually stylish yet street chic urban compact, the CZ2 will be the smart choice for all-around value and all-day fun. It's designed to appeal to a wide range of city drivers who need functional yet stylish vehicles. What do you think? It features a roomy, plush, 4-passenger interior, highlighted by a futuristic waveform dashboard. Lots of storage spaces included, such as a lunchbox in the luggage compartment and removable door trim bags. Why you'd ever need to take them with you, I'm not sure. The glass roof has a quartered, adjustable sunlight control design so that each passenger can adjust tinting to his or her preference. Not bad, Mitsubishi. Now this is the more aggressive and sportier CZ3 Tarmac, which, say Mitsubishi, will delight everyone from demanding performance purists to sporty city drivers. Taking several cues from rally cars, the CZ3 Tarmac features a strange-looking gear shifter and 4-point seat belts. A 1.5-litre turbocharged and intercooled GDI or gasoline direct injection engine drives all 4 wheels through a CVT transmission. Both these concepts look great and we can't wait to drive them. And it shows that car companies can design highly practical and desirable cars if they want to. But Mitsubishi have had a few weird concept cars in their recent history as well. How about this one? Mitsubishi actually planned to build this monster at its plant at a town called Normal in Illinois. Looking nothing like Normal and dubbed Mad Max, the 4-door reportedly is based on the Galant and resembles a cross between a sport utility and a station wagon. Basically, it attempts to blend the speed and handling of a high-performance sports car with the utility of a sports utility vehicle. Now, in theory, this is impossible with the bulk and higher centre of gravity you'll get with the SUV shape. But they had a go, and this is the result. There are only three things certain in life: death, taxes, and the fact that motoring will always cost you dear. To reduce the misery at the fuel pumps, car manufacturers have tried to make car engines more and more fuel efficient. But there's no point in doing this if car bodies are actually getting heavier to lug around. So Audi came up with the idea of using lighter materials. They thought, why not use more aluminium? After all, aluminium is lighter than steel, so this seems a great idea. Their luxury cruiser, the A8, uses body panels that are made of aluminium, but they wanted to create an all-new design where as much as possible under the skin was as light as possible. The AL2 concept car was created. An Audi-themed design study in aluminium, the car had some wonderfully high-tech features, but these were really just the icing on the cake that was the aluminium space frame underneath. The use of this dramatically reduced the weight of the car, thus increasing its fuel efficiency. So what happened to the AL2 concept? That's right, it turned into this, the Audi A2. They never did use that futuristic interior. Maybe we would have been tired with it after a while. The interior look they eventually used in the production car uses the rock-solid black dashboard that Audi are famous for, and the Audi A2 is selling well, though not spectacularly. The problem with aluminium is that it's very expensive, plus it costs more to repair since you can't weld it like steel. So if you have an accident, entire panels and sections have to be replaced, an expensive business. Pickups are boring, right? They may love them in the United States, but in Europe, our cars need to be sporty looking to be really desired, right? So let me introduce you to the Honda Spocket concept car, an eye-catching machine which started life as this computer animation in the design studios of Japan. The Honda bosses loved the lines, and the green light was lit. One of the features are these lovely vertical gull-wing doors, so you can get out of them in a tight car park. The electric motors do take their time though, don't they? Not exactly handy for a Starsky and Hutch type getaway. But what has this car got to do with pickups? Well, have a peek over the sides and all is revealed. And when you want to convert your car into an open-topped roadster, another button is pressed and even your load in the back is safely covered as well. Now, in reality, this Honda Spocket concept probably won't have a huge market, but there are some neat ideas that will no doubt be spun off into future designs. Soak in this stunning interior design, gorgeous use of colour and aluminium, and look at the sporty aviation-style steering wheel. Couldn't you get behind the wheel of this right now? When car designers start scribbling on the back of a beer mat, sketching on a blank piece of paper or mousing on a CAD screen, one thing they need is vision. And vision is the name of this remarkable concept car from Mercedes-Benz, which thrilled our senses in the late 1990s. Some of the styling cues from this Vision SLR concept car have made it to some Mercedes cars that are on sale today, but as a total package, the concept had a lot to offer on its own. The stance and the aggression of the design reminds you of a Formula One car, yet the semi-gull wing doors had a touch of style and practicality. Isn't this a welcoming view to drive this beautiful beast? Couldn't you just sit behind this oval wheel and know immediately how to have fun with it, knowing you'll be turning countless heads as you proudly cruise down the high street? The speedo goes up to 330 for goodness sake. Okay, only kilometres, not miles, but good enough. And you would be controlling this V12 power plant. They're good. You know when car designers go on about how they've designed cars while being inspired by the past? Well, this doesn't mean nicking a wheel panel and using this for some new creation. It means projects like this, where Mercedes drag a classic sport design out of their museum to test it in this aerodynamic wind tunnel. The technicians are looking to see if their new concept car matches up to the known characteristics of the classic. Looks good to me, but I'm not a car design expert. But here is where you'll find the talent. We were allowed to film in the inner sanctum to find out just what goes on when a stunning concept like the SLR is created. In this highly charged yet strangely quiet environment, endless sketches and tryouts are studied, discussed, rejected, refined. It's a very time-consuming business. For the SLR vision, this wall of impressive sketches are all considered for the final agreed shape of the concept. Some of these designs are really astonishing. After all, these designers are creating original works of art that will probably be never seen outside the design studio. Everything has to be done by hand, and of course any changes that are done on one side have to be mirrored exactly on the other side. But of course the model makers know that eventually they'll have to give way to the building of the real thing. This man's job is to trim the interior and to place the switchgear. Now it's clear from our close-ups that it's all mocked up and none of these switches work. But each of these mock pods would be designed and carefully moulded and trimmed. Plus of course they cost a fortune. So here's the finished article, worth the effort. We may never see the Mercedes SLR vision on the road, but this is a true vision of the future. Well, that's all for this week. On the next edition of Concept Cars, we look at British designs on the world. How cars like this, created by international companies at studios around the world, are really from creative British brains. I'll explain more next week.